In the last learning module, we talked about an introduction to monetary policy and fiscal policy, and then we went in a detailed analysis of fiscal policy, its tools and objectives. Now, we're going to talk about monetary policy. And in the last learning module, I told you that fiscal policy is more controlled by your government officials, your elected officials, whereas monetary policy is conducted by the central bank. And as much as possible, it should be independent of political influence. We will also talk about what is the role of central banks, what are the tools available to central banks to conduct monetary policy, how the transmission happens through the financial system. So let's say when they increase interest rates, how does it impact the banks, and then how does that further impact the companies and individuals in an economy. Why does the central bank do this? What are its objectives? So we will be discussing the objectives of monetary policy. And then finally, we will be discussing the interaction of monetary policy with fiscal policy. So as discussed, this learning module is going to cover the roles and objectives of central banks, what are the tools available with them for monetary policy, how does the transmission mechanism work through the economic system, and what are the qualities of an effective central bank, what are the objectives that they try to achieve when they are conducting these monetary policy operations, such as targeting of inflation. So they have inflation targeting, interest rate targeting, and exchange rate targeting. And then finally, we will close the learning module with an interaction of monetary policy and fiscal policy discussion. So first, let's talk about what are the roles of central banks. Number one, they are the supplier of currency. They are the only ones which have the authority to print money in an economy. Number two, they are the banker to the government, which means that, for example, you as an individual must have a bank where you have an account where you keep money. So the government keeps its money with the central bank. Whenever they have to pay someone, they instruct the central bank to make that payment. They're also the banker's bank. So for example, if one bank, let's say Bank of America, has to transfer some payment to Citigroup or Citibank, then the central bank is going to adjust its balance, reduce its balance of Bank of America and increase the balance of Citibank. So it is also the banker's bank. It is the lender of last resort. What does that mean? So let's say Silicon Valley Bank is a bank in California that had some issues. And if it is unable to get a loan from anywhere, it goes to Citi and it's not able to get a loan from Citi. It goes to Bank of America. It is not able to get a loan from Bank of America. And then it goes to the central bank, which in America is called the Federal Reserve. And then it gets a loan from the Federal Reserve. Therefore, what we call the central bank is that it is the lender of last resort for banks. Right? They are the ones who will give a bank a loan if nobody else is giving them a loan. Why they would do that? And of course, those of you who have been following the Silicon Valley Bank story must know that normal people had money in this bank, right? So as a central bank, of course, they want to protect your normal depositors. That is why they protect banks, so that the depositors are protected to as much of a extent as possible. And there is of course a cap on that, which is $250,000 per account. Anyways, that is not included in the discussion over here, but I'm just trying to explain to you why the central bank acts as a lender of last resort, because it's their responsibility, one of their objectives, to maintain a stable financial system. Which brings me to the fourth objective over here, that the central bank regulates and supervises the payment system. So let's say, for example, you want to transfer some money to your friend, and your account is in Wells Fargo, another bank in California, and your friend's account is, let's say, in HSBC in London, So the way the transfer is going to work is that you will initiate it from your end, and then the Federal Reserve is going to talk to the Bank of England, and then the Bank of England will add the money to your friend's account in HSBC. So the country's payment systems is supervised and regulated by the central bank. And it's not only the payment system that they regulate, they are also the supervisor of the banking system. Now, what does that mean, and how is it different from the payment system? So banks don't only do payments, they also give loans, right? And if, for example, a bank gives very bad loans and loses that money, it's not the bank's money that they are loaning out, it is the depositors, right? So again, the central bank has to be very, very careful with what the banks in its economy are doing, in its financial system, in its banking system. So if anybody wants to open a new bank, the license has to be acquired from the central bank. And not only is it a one-time thing that you get a license and then you can do whatever you want, the central bank will continue to supervise the banking system just to make sure that they're not giving out very bad loans or they're not making very bad investments, so that the bank does not go bankrupt. And of course, the central bank conducts monetary policy, and this is going to be the main focus of this learning module. But before we get into the details of monetary policy, let me just cover one more point, which is a role of the central bank. That it maintains foreign currency reserves and gold reserves. So, they have a variety of objectives, like we've just discussed, right? And let me just give you a peek into something that you will hear a lot, that the Federal Reserve has a dual mandate. What does that mean? Like two major objectives. Number one is to have inflation at a stable and low rate. So currently, I believe their target is 2%. It can change, but this is the main mandate. And the second one is to keep unemployment below natural rate of unemployment, which is 5%. There is, of course, a debate going on that even 5% unemployment is too high and it should be below 3%, because it has been consistently below 3%. So they're saying now the new target should be to keep it at or below 3%. But currently, the Federal Reserve of America is not doing a very good job with the inflation. It has been between 9% and 8% and 7% over the past few months. Now it has started to come down to 6. Well, there is still a long way to go for it to come back down to 2. And that is why the Federal Reserve has been increasing interest rates. And before I move on to explain to you how increasing interest rates reduces inflation, because that is going to be the core discussion in this video, and that is coming up. But before I dig deep into keeping inflation in check by increasing interest rate, I just want to touch upon some of the other objectives that the central bank has. So to maintain full employment. Now you might be thinking, if unemployment is at 5%, then how is that full employment? So, well, full employment doesn't mean that 100% of the people which are willing to work are working. There will always be some natural level of unemployment, which is people who are switching jobs, or they're just there is some frictional unemployment, that they're looking for jobs but they've not been able to find one. So that much is okay, which has traditionally been 5%, which is the natural rate. But now, as I was just saying, that it is becoming more common to accept a level as low as 3%, which will say that we are at full employment if 97% of the people are employed. Of course, to maintain full output, which means, again, everybody or 97% of the people that are willing to work are working, and your economy is operating at full capacity. second objective that is mentioned over here is to maintain confidence in the financial system, and that comes back to what we were talking about in terms of the regulation and supervision of the banking system and the payment system, so that banks don't go bankrupt. To promote an understanding of the financial sector, right? Awareness in the people. But look at what they're saying towards the end, that the overriding objective is the price stability or keeping inflation in check, and that is the main one that we will be focusing on as well.